Ever had a Karen measure your mailbox paper slap? That's how my grandpa's Monday started fined $100 because his navy blue mailbox broke community harmony. Gloria, our HOA president, paraded up the driveway like she owned the law. But when she mocked him for asking why he smiled, opened his old briefcase and pulled out a document stamped Lawson and Keene Trust, Fiduciary Control. Gavel drop. The same firm holding her HOA's bank account. Next week, the clubhouse lights went dark, funds, frozen fines refunded, silence served. Beep, printer, wakes. Filed, 412-07. Received, 03-17. A single page slides out. $100 I read. Mailbox, non-compliant, color violation. On our porch, Grandpa Henry tips his cap toward the little blue flag on his mailbox. Gloria Pierce is already halfway up our walk with a clipboard and a smile that never reaches her eyes. "Morning," she says. "Rules keep us equal. Equal to your taste, I ask." Grandpa clears his throat. "Good morning, Ms. Pierce. What exactly is the violation, Bylaw 14B, she says, tapping the paper. Approved colors only. Yours is whimsical. Grandpa studies the flag. That's Navy. Navy's been on ships and uniforms longer than this subdivision's been dirt. Non-compliance is disobedience, Gloria says louder now as curtains lift along the street. The mail truck idles at the curb. Floyd, our mailman, pretends not to listen. The mower next door coughs, dies. Look, I say paint color isn't a crime. No one said crime, Gloria replies, but order requires obedience. Grandpa chuckles once. Order requires consent. She lifts her phone. Camera click. Documentation, she says. Evidence _001. You're photographing a veteran's mailbox, I say. Veteran. She recalibrates the smile. Thank you for your service. Please repaint within 10 days. Subsequent fines double. Grandpa turns the notice over. Your citation references maintenance, not aesthetics. 14B addresses irrigation. Gloria blinks recovers. Amended at last quarter's meeting. We weren't at that meeting, I say. You were notified. Were we? Grandpa raises the envelope. This says, assessment discussion, not paint. Two kids on bikes slow behind the mailbox. Their mother tugs them on. Phones lift like periscopes. Wind rattles the plastic on a real estate flyer box. Ms. Pierce Grandpa says even paint is speech where I grew up. If color offends you, law will calm you. Her smile cracks a millimeter. Sir, don't make this adversarial. You wrote the ticket, I say. We're just reading it. She taps her clipboard. You have 10 days. Failure to comply will result in liens and collections. Liens, I say. Over a shade of blue. The board doesn't enjoy enforcement. She says enjoying it. We're stewards of standards. Standards shouldn't bully. Grandpa says. From the curb, Floyd calls, "Y'all need me to scan that certified." He holds up his handheld. I nod. Scan it, I say. We'll need the timestamp. Floyd steps up. Beep. He tilts the screen. 03-17 received. Clock's accurate, he adds low. She had me deliver 3 others. To who I ask. He shrugs. Corner lot and the teacher with the hedges. Gloria notices the audience. She projects. We all signed the covenants. Community first. Community is not your clipboard, Grandpa says. Community is neighbors. Then be neighborly and repaint, she says. Grandpa folds the notice, slips it into his shirt pocket over his heart. I respect rules when rules respect reason. Reason, she repeats. Sir, you are welcome to appeal at next month's meeting. Next month, I say. You're fining today. Process takes time, she sings. Convenience, too, Grandpa murmurs. The mower coughs again. A porch cam across the street chimes. The block is choosing sides one curtain at a time. I lower my voice. We could just repaint Grandpa. He keeps looking at the flag. We could, he says, and we could teach them the difference between taste and law. Gloria peels an orange sticker and slaps it on the post. Notice non-compliant. The adhesive pops. She poses the clipboard. Camera click. 10 days, she says again, daring us to raise our voices. 8. Floyd mutters. Holiday week shifts the calendar. Gloria glares. Thank you, Floyd. The board will advise. A breeze lifts the notice. It snaps once. Grandpa smooths it with 2 fingers. His hand shakes age or anger. Ms. Pierce, he says, does 14 B-list paint codes. It references the approved palette, she says. Where's that palette posted? Clubhouse, she answers. During office hours, which are when 9 to 12. Tuesdays. Grandpa nods like a man tallying nails. So the rule that binds us is visible 3 hours a week inside a supervised room. It's not about visibility, she says, softening. We like to guide choices. Guide or decide. I ask. Comply, she answers. Heat presses the porch boards. For a second, no one speaks, only the printer inside, cooling with a quiet tick. Grandpa breaks the silence. Evan, A. pen, please? I bring a black pilot from the hall table. He writes across the bottom in block letters, received under protest. He underlines it once. Gloria's eyes flash. Noted, she says, but doesn't write. You'll want a copy, Grandpa says. I have a photograph, she replies. He smiles. Ink outlives pixels. Janet across the street steps out in a pink tracksuit phone, already live. Comments ripple on her screen. What's the fuss, she asks. Color, someone whispers. Control, someone else. I fold my arms. We'll see you at the meeting, I tell Gloria. She cinches her clipboard. We look forward to your compliance. Grandpa lifts the blue flag with one finger and lets it fall. You'll get our answer, he says, and you'll get it in writing. Gloria pivots toward the sidewalk. She frames the mailbox once more. Camera click. The file name glows as she taps to save evidence 00001.jpg. The diner opens like it always does, chrome catching the desert sun bell on the door, weak as a cough. A man at the counter says to no one. He got fined for a mailbox. The line hangs above the coffee steam. Grandpa doesn't miss a beat. Then the mailbox will answer in court. Maggie slides us into the corner booth, refills from a pot that smells like it's been working since '92. The radio murmurs classic rock under the chatter. I lay the orange non-compliant sticker on the formica. It looks louder indoors. Rough morning, Maggie asks. Rougher rules. Grandpa says, black no room. Judge Keene arrives 2 minutes late, which for him is theater. He keeps his suit jackets hung loose these days, retired, but still carrying a courtroom in his posture. He glances at the sticker, then at Grandpa. Heard your HOA discovered color, he says, taking the opposite bench. They discovered leverage, Grandpa answers. Keene flicks the sticker's corner. You kept any leverage of your own. Grandpa reaches for the old leather briefcase that has been part of every hard conversation I remember. The brass latches pop with a soft click, click. Inside lies a blue folder embossed in silver. Lawson and Keene. Trust, PC. Keene's eyebrows rise. Still, keep the HOA's trust account open. Grandpa slides a thin laptop out, sets it between the mugs. Escrow doesn't vanish because people forget who set it up. He logs in. The screen glow washes the booth. Maggie leans in with another pour, sees the letterhead, decides to leave us to it. Keene's voice lowers. Careful who looks over your shoulder. Only person over my shoulder right now is a friend. Grandpa tilts the screen. A dashboard loads HOA Escrow 2018 Pines. Under it, tabs Contributions. Disbursements, Authorizations. One tab is Red Exceptions. Keene points. That red is never good. Grandpa clicks. A table spills out rows of payments, landscaping, signage, security, consultation, community engagement, and something labeled Administrative Reserve President Authority. I count lines. How many of those President Authority items Grandpa scrolls? Too many. He opens an authorization PDF. The signatures block is blank. Keene rests 2 fingers on the screen without touching it, like reading Braille through light. No board vote, no minutes attached. They're using the trust as a checking account. They're using our names, I say. Grandpa takes a breath through his nose the way he does when he's calibrating anger to something useful. Escrow requires dual authorization custodian plus officer. We gave them a custodian. They're behaving like they don't need one. Keene nods. Then you already hold the gavel. The words sit between us like a stamped order. From the counter, the man who announced the mailbox leans back and stage whispers, "Told ya. HOA's gone." "Hollywood." Maggie shushes him with a look that could pass emotion. Grandpa clicks to contributions. Names are anonymized lot numbers and amounts. The money is real, in the way numbers are real, indifferent, and exact. He taps Audit Trail. On the right margin, a side panel lists login Pierce.g offsite and device mobile at odd hours. The cursor pauses there. Keene's voice turns clinical. Off-site authorization at 11:47 p.m. Through mobile administrative reserve increases. That's not governance, that's convenience. My jaw tightens. Tell me this is just sloppy. Grandpa doesn't. He opens authorizations and filters for amendment. The results are empty. No revised bylaws loaded, he says. They're invoking regulations that aren't seated in the system. In court, Keene says if it isn't in the record, it's a story. Maggie sets down a plate. We didn't order 2 eggs, buttered toast, bacon like punctuation. "Eat while you argue," she says. Arguing on an empty stomach makes fools of men. Grandpa cracks a smile. Words my wife used to live by. He slides the plate toward Keene. "You favored one-liners in chambers too, if I recall." Keene snags the toast. "Still do. Here's one. Uniformity isn't law, fairness is." He chews, then adds, "You should put that on their minutes when you win." I watch Grandpa navigate. The cursor moves like a carpenter measuring twice before cutting. He pulls up Custodial Agreement 2018. The clause sits there in dusky text. No disbursement shall occur absent dual authorization by the HOA officer of record and B. The appointed custodian, Lawson and Keene. Trust PC. Keene taps the page. That clause is your spine. Spine doesn't swing itself, Grandpa says. He clicks Exceptions again. One entry is tagged with a yellow triangle vendor, Lakeside Security Consulting, $2,800 memo camera evaluation. The attachment is a JPEG of an invoice with a blurry logo. No board approval form, no vote record. I glance at the radio, suddenly noticing the lyrics about truth and backbeats. Cameras, I ask. For what? Doesn't matter, Keene says. What matters is process. Grandpa closes the laptop halfway. The booth goes dim. I used to think folks wanted rules to feel safe, he says. Now I think some folks want rules to feel tall. Tall falls. Keene replies. Paperwork stands. A pair of retirees enters and heads for the bulletin board where yard sale flyers compete with lost dog notices. One is a clubhouse hours sheet, Tuesdays 9 to 12. Grandpa's eyes flick there, then back to us. 3 hours a week to read what binds a neighborhood, he says, and none of it in the system. Keene wipes his hands businesslike again. Here's the path. Step 1. Preserve. Pull down mirrored copies of the audit trail escrow agreement and exceptions log. Step 2. Notify the bank's fiduciary unit out of courtesy, not permission. Step 3. Request a temporary hold under the dual authorization clause pending a board review. He leans in. You're not punishing, you're protecting. Maggie refills all 3 mugs in a single sweep. Sounds like justice with paperwork, she says. Grandpa nods. Justice without paperwork is a speech. I reach into the briefcase and pull a thumb drive cobalt blue to match the flag back home. Grandpa turns it in his fingers like he's testing the grain. You sure, I ask. He looks at Keene. The judge gives a small, deliberate nod. Do it by the book, Keene says. Make the book loud. Grandpa opens the laptop again, finds the export icon. He hesitates, not out of fear but respect for switches you only flip once. The diner hum narrows around the screen's glow. Henry Keene says, voice steady, you taught me this in '88. Good law is a quiet hammer. Grandpa breathes out. Then, let's tap. He selects audit trail. Custodial agreement exceptions. Log contributions. Masked. Disbursements masked. The dialog box appears. Save to external device. He slides the flash drive into the side port. Click. On the screen, the volume name populates in clean letters HOA Escrow 2018 Pines. Fluorescents stutter a cold tick over aluminum tables. The mic hisses, then settles into a thin hum. Gloria raises a plastic gavel like it weighs more than plastic ever should. Order thunk. Silver Pines HOA regular session. The clubhouse smells like toner and new paper. Folding chairs grind as neighbors squeeze in. A sign-in sheet travels row to row. The header reads Meeting Agenda 6:00 p.m. Someone coughs. Someone whispers, it's about the mailbox guy. Grandpa sits beside me, hands folded over a small legal pad. Ben Ruttman, the treasurer, hovers at the end of the board table, eyes on a manila file. He looks like a man trying to be smaller than his chair. Gloria clears her throat. First item enforcement action, Lot 17B. She looks straight at Grandpa. Color violation. By unanimous board authority, a $100 fine was issued with 10-day compliance. Failure triggers lien per covenants. A murmur ripples. I raise my hand. Point of order. Could you cite the adopted palette that's binding this fine? Gloria's smile tightens. References are available at the clubhouse during office hours. 3 hours a week, I say. We remember. Grandpa leans to the mic. It squeals. He waits, then speaks level. Henry Lawson. Lot 17B. Before we talk paint, we'll talk process. Please enter into record that our notice was stamped, received 0317, and signed under protest. The secretary scribbles. The room leans closer. And Grandpa adds, we request a member's inspection of financial records under the Arizona Nonprofit Corporation Act and your own bylaws. Article 6, Records and Reports. Gloria blinks, recovers. Tonight's agenda is enforcement, not finance. Tomorrow's agenda, Grandpa says, is always shaped by what you hide tonight. A few chuckles. Ben flinches. Gloria taps a stack of photocopies. We follow rules. Rules keep us equal. Equal access, I say, includes the ledger. She lifts the gavel half an inch. We're not here to grandstand. We're here to see. Grandpa replies. Start with an officer list. Who authorized recent disbursements labeled President Authority. Ben stares at the manila file. His thumb rubs a crease in the tab. Gloria angles her body to block him from the room's sightline. Disbursements are routine. Routine has receipts, Grandpa says. A woman in the second row. Janet, pink tracksuit phone on silent, raises her hand. I got a late fee when I questioned the holiday wreath ban. Is that routine too? Gloria ignores her. Lot 17B. Do you contest the color of your mailbox? Grandpa keeps his eyes on Ben. I contest how you spend my neighbor's money. The fluorescent above us flickers hard and stabilizes like a scene cue. Gloria exhales through her nose. Mr. Ruttman read the enforcement note. Ben opens the file with careful fingers. A bank printout flashes columns, numbers, the comfort of math. He swallows. Enforcement Lot 17B. Noted and, applied per. His voice thins. What about the administrative reserve line, I ask. Show us that page. Gloria reaches to retrieve the file. Ben flinches again, then, almost too quick to see, slides a narrow scrap from under the printout and, palming it, lets it drift face down to the edge of our table as he stands to hand the rest to Gloria. I lower my hand to steady the paper as if it were slipping. The scrap is neat accountant small, Act number 4412, Lawson and Keene Trust. My chest tightens. Grandpa's jaw works once. He doesn't look at Gloria. He looks at the ceiling like he's counting tiles. Then softly, "Thank you, Mr. Ruttman." Gloria snaps. "What was that?" "Nothing," Ben says too fast. Grandpa picks up the mic. "Madam President, I now understand why the ledger resists light. The HOA still disperses from a custodial account established with Lawson and Keene Trust PC. That means every dollar out should carry dual authorization. It hasn't." A low "ooh" rolls through the chairs. Phones lift. Someone whispers, "Dual," what another answers. 2 signatures. Oversight. Gloria's smile thins to a wire. "Mr. Lawson, you are out of order." "I am precisely in order," Grandpa says, "and you are precisely out of compliance." She hammers the gavel. The plastic bounces. Security. There is no security. Only Ben, who is now examining the grain of the table as if it holds absolution. Janet raises her phone. "Is it true you paid for camera evaluation with no vote? People heard about invoices." "Sit down," Gloria says. "Read the covenants," Janet answers. "We did." Grandpa lifts the scrap just enough for me to slide it into my legal pad. He keeps his voice calm. "We'll make this gentle. Publish the minutes approving administrative reserve expansions. Publish the vote authorizing camera evaluations. Publish the pallet you find me under. Or admit your improvising government." Gloria's eyes flash toward Ben. He looks ready to fold into his shirt. "Treasurer," she says, "explain the account structure." Ben clears his throat, finds a middle distance, and misses it. We have an escrow historical used for convenience," Grandpa supplies, which is not an exception to fiduciary duty. A man in a ball cap stands. "I got fined for a tomato trellis," he says. "Paid it." "Where'd it go?" He waves his receipt. "Who signed order?" Gloria says again, but the word has lost heat. Grandpa leans into the mic, not loud, only final. "Then this meeting's not about paint. It's about trust." Silence falls the way a sentence ends. I feel the room tilt the way a crowd shifts when it realizes a stage wasn't where it thought. Gloria inhales, squared to fight the air itself. "We will not entertain baseless accusations." "Show the base," I say. "Records are available during office hours," she repeats, defaulting like a machine. 3 hours a week, Janet says behind a desk you control. A retired couple in the back murmurs, "We can't come Tuesdays." Another voice, "My shift's days." The hubbub forms a line of thought. Grandpa turns one palm up. Transparency costs less than cameras. Ben's lips part. For a second, I think he'll talk. He shuts them. He slides his chair back instead, the legs scraping with a sound that makes the room wince. Gloria sees the crowd, feels the sway. She reaches for the mic click and kills it. The hum snaps off. Her voice rides the room raw. Meeting adjourned. The fluorescents flicker like a bad lie. The gavel lands plastic and loud. Rain threads the window like gray wire. The room is the color of a filing cabinet lamp pool notes stacked to the law, outnumbering the night. Grandpa sits at his roll-top desk, sleeves rolled glasses low. The laptop wakes to a sterile glow that paints the brass knobs. I stand behind his shoulder close enough to hear the keys before he touches them. "Ready?" I ask. He nods once. "Ready." Click, click. Username, passphrase. A second factor prompt blinks. He reaches for a small fob on his keyring. It pulses a code that looks like a heartbeat. He types it. The portal opens Lawson and Keene. Trust Custodial Dashboard. The logo curls in his lenses like a seal cut in glass. Keene's name flashes on my phone. I tap speaker. Judge. His voice comes warm, gravel, precise. Henry Evan. "You're in," Grandpa says. "Then make your record first." The law remembers screens, not size. Grandpa nods, already moving. He clicks Audit Trail. The scroll shows dates, IP addresses, approvals flagged off-site mobile at ungodly hours. He opens Disbursements. They march down the page like a parade without a permit. Vendor Lakeside Security Consulting. Memo Camera Evaluation. Amount $2,800. Again. Administrator Reserve. President Authority. Amount $1,200. Again. Lack of board minutes, I say. Keen on speaker and no dual authorization. Read the custodial clause aloud into the record. Grandpa taps custodial agreement 2018. He clears his throat slow. No disbursement shall occur absent dual authorization by the HOA officer of record and B, the appointed custodian, Lawson and Keen Trust, P.C. He looks at me. That appointed custodian hasn't moved. Then show you can still move, Keen says. Export first. Then you pull the lever. Grandpa opens export. The dialog window lists options like their evidence tags, audit trail.pdf, exceptions, CSEV, disbursements, redacted.pdf, contributions, redacted.pdf, custodial/agreement, 2018.pdf. He plugs the same Cobalt thumb drive. Click. The volume label appears, HOA, Escrow, 2018, Pines. Backups complete, he says. Now the lever. Freeze order, Keen says. Draft it clean. No adjectives, just authority. Grandpa opens a new document. The template populates from memory. The heading is the kind of sentence that can pick up a building instruction temporary account hold. He types to Fiduciary Services, SunWest Commercial Banking, from Lawson and Keen. Trust, P.C. Custodian of Record File Pines HOA, Escrow, 2018. Immediate temporary hold. Pending board review under Dual Authorization Clause 44. B. Rain ticks harder. I can smell dust waking under it. He continues, basis, irregular disbursement activity identified in the exceptions log, absence of board minutes authorizations, off-site mobile authorizations inconsistent with policy, potential breach of fiduciary duty. Action requested. Place immediate temporary hold on outgoing disbursements from account X6 444. Preserve all records. Notify signatories. Await custodian release or board vote entered into record. He stops just long enough to underline preserve. It's not for drama. It's a hinge. Keen speaks like he's dictating to the rain. Add that this is protective, not punitive. You're keeping the board from worse trouble. Grandpa adds, purpose protective, not punitive, to preserve community funds until proper governance is confirmed. He scrolls to the signature block. The cursor blinks. He reaches for his stylus. The old hand steadies age then control. A digital signature blooms, Henry R. Lawson, Custodian. He adds a CC line, HOA Treasurer, Ruttman, Ben, and HOA President Pierce Gloria and County Nonprofit Oversight Liaison. Breathe, Keen says softly. Grandpa exhales. Evan, time to attach the mirrors. I drag the files in PDFs stacking like bricks. The upload bar slides right. The system pings, documents attached. Send it to the bank's secure queue, Keen says. Then message the fiduciary unit in portal. Always leave 2 trails. Grandpa navigates to Fiduciary Services secure message. He types initiating temporary hold per 4B. Please confirm receipt and status, pending review. HRL. He hovers over send. The room narrows to 1 button. Once you file that, Keen says they'll know who you are again. Grandpa smiles without teeth. Good. He clicks send. For a second, nothing moves. I hear the rain and the desk clock and my own throat. Then the top of the portal blooms a yellow bar ticket, 771945, created account lock pending review. We don't cheer. We just stand there as if a gear somewhere far away has caught and begun to turn. The cursor returns to neutral. The clause on the screen looks smaller now, like a deed after a boundary dispute is solved. Keen breaks the quiet. Now seal your copy. Grandpa saves the freeze order to the drive and to a folder labeled Evidence Pines on his desktop. He prints one page for the local file drawer. The printer exhales a single breath. Were. You served, I ask. Served, he says. Next, Keene says you notify the board not to gloat to instruct. 5 lines, no sermon. Grandpa drafts a second note. To Board of Silver Pines, HOA, subject, temporary. Hold, trust account, 4412. Per custodian authority, under the 2018 agreement, a temporary hold has been initiated pending review and vote. Records are preserved. Please calendar a special meeting to cure irregularities and adopt a transparent policy. Henry Lawson. He pauses. Too sharp. It's a scalpel, Keene says. Leave it. He hits send again. The laptop makes a small, polite sound that could be a door closing. The rain eases thinner now. I look over his shoulder at the dashboard. Disbursements are grayed out with a padlock icon. A tooltip pops when the cursor drifts. Outgoing transactions disabled pending review. That's it, I say. That's the twist, isn't it? Grandpa tilts his head. No twist, he says. Just a contract doing its job. Keene gives one last instruction. Power will try to call this a stunt. Don't argue. Say, hold. Preserve. Vote. That's it. The call ends with a soft click. The room settles into the kind of quiet you earn. Grandpa closes the laptop to a 2-inch gap, the distance between done and done. The lamp hums. The window is a black envelope with rain writing nothing on it. He pushes the cobalt drive toward me. Prop 3, he says. Freeze order, I answer. He nods. Truth likes paper. I press the drive cap on until it snaps. The laptop screen goes black. In the dark, a single sound hangs like a pin dropped on a judge's bench. Sun hits the clubhouse windows hard enough to make the flyers on the bulletin board glaze. Inside, a drip of coffee ticks from the edge of a styrofoam cup to the tile. Gloria is mid-sip when her phone vibrates. She glances down. Subject, fiduciary, notice. Funds, frozen. Account 4412. The cup slips. It shatters soft like chalk. Ben, she says without breath. What did you do? Me Ben's voice lifts. I didn't. The parking lot fills with neighbors. Phones lift. A deputy county vehicle noses to the curb engine ticking. The deputy steps out, hat squared clipboard under one arm. Morning, he says. We have a fiduciary complaint here. Gloria regathers herself and switches to stage voice. This is a private meeting. Public funds. Private room, the deputy says evenly. That's why I'm here. Grandpa and I enter through the double doors. The air smells like paper and disinfectant. The room's TV screen still shows last month's agenda frozen on pause. Welcome to Silver Pines HOA. Gloria lifts an envelope from the table. My letter from last night. You, she says to Grandpa. You pulled a stunt. Grandpa doesn't raise his voice. The contract pulled a hold. I signed the notice. Ben looks at the floor. It came from the bank, he murmurs. Sun West. The deputy opens his clipboard and reads not theatrical, just clean instruction temporary account hold. To Sun West, commercial banking from Lawson and Keene, Trust PC. Custodian of Record File Pines HOA Escrow 2018. Basis irregular disbursement activity. Absence of board minutes. Off-site mobile authorizations. Action requested. Hold on outgoing disbursements. Preserve all records. Notify signatories. Pending review. He taps the bottom line. Ticket number SW 7711945. Account lock. Pending review. Gloria's smile comes out as a wince. Deputy, this is a misunderstanding. We have authority. The hold cites dual authorization, the deputy says. Your trust agreement requires the custodian and an officer. You've been authorizing from a cell phone at midnight. It was convenient, she snaps. Convenience is not a policy, Grandpa says. A murmur swells from the doorway. Janet whispers to her phone. We're live at Silver Pines Mailbox, Fine turned fiduciary freeze. Comments climb the screen. Hat mailbox. Justice flashes, then multiplies. Gloria pushes past the deputy to the card table with the petty cash box and the POS reader. "We'll carry on," she announces. "Dues payments will proceed. Ma'am, the deputy says don't test the lock." She swipes a test card anyway. The POS reader chirps. The screen goes white, then gray. Account access denied. Gloria's jaw stalls open. The room inhales and forgets to exhale. Ben rubs his temples. "I told you the escrow was still at Lawson and Keene." "You told me nothing," Gloria fires. "Enough," Grandpa says. He steps forward, palms visible. "This is not a spectacle. This is a pause. Your funds are preserved. Your books will be read in daylight. By you," Gloria says. "So you can grandstand." "By you," Grandpa answers with minutes votes and a pallet posted where working people can see it. The deputy lifts a strip of tamper tape from his clipboard and gestures toward the whiteboard labeled Expenditures. "Per request, I'm sealing this until the board convenes." He presses the tape across the frame. The adhesive whispers and sets. A small county sticker overlaps it. Gloria goes pale. "You can't shut down an elected board." "I didn't shut you down," Grandpa says. "The law froze you, not me." Phones catch that line. I watch the chat explode. Finally, someone fought back. The words stick like a decal across a screen. "Everyone, calm down," Ben says, sounding like a substitute teacher. "We can still record payments manually." "Cash," someone asks from the doorway. "You want envelopes in a box. Receipts will be issued." Ben begins. "Receipts for what Janet says. An account you can't touch." The deputy raises a hand, palm out. "Board, you can schedule a special meeting, publish minutes, cure irregularities. Then the custodian can lift the hold. I'm here to keep the piece of paper, not take sides." Gloria turns back to Grandpa. "You wanted this, didn't you? To embarrass me." Grandpa's eyes soften, but his voice doesn't. "I wanted you to stop spending other people's money by yourself." The room picks a side without voting. It sounds like air finding a crack after a storm. A man in a ball cap, my tomato trellis neighbor, steps forward. "While you've got that seal out, deputy, maybe tape over the camera evaluation budget line too. That's not how Gloria starts. Then show the minutes," he says. "Show the vote." The deputy, methodical, takes photos of the sealed board, the POS error screen, and the envelope with my temporary hold letter. "Click, click, for the file," he says. Gloria gathers papers as if possession equals authority. "We'll pay vendors by check, drawn on what I ask." The lock applies to outgoing disbursements. Then the landscapers don't get paid. A neighbor asks. "They will," Grandpa says. "The hold is protective. You calendar a vote, adopt a policy, and we release the funds. People get paid the right way." A retiree near the bulletin board nods. "Right way," he repeats like he's tasting something he remembers. Janet's chat rolls faster. "Freeze the slush. Show the pallet. Dual signatures or no dollars." Someone starts a poll. The results pop. "Post the pallet, 98%, yes." Gloria points at me like she's found a crime. "You're filming to make me look like a villain. You did that," I say, "when you called non-compliance disobedience. We kept our receipts." She lifts the plastic gavel, finds nowhere to put it down. The deputy clears his throat. "Ma'am, a reminder, retaliatory fines during an active hold could be construed as harassment under the nonprofit code." "Harassment," she repeats as if the word belongs to someone else. Grandpa steps aside so anyone can see the county sticker on the whiteboard. "Call a meeting, Gloria. Put the pallet on paper. Put minutes in the record. Bring the treasurer's reports. Invite sunlight." Or what she says. Or nothing, Grandpa says. Or the hold remains until the board does its job. A boy tugs his mother's sleeve near the door. "Why can't they just say, 'sorry'?" he asks too loud. The room smiles the way a porch does when a kid asks the question grown-ups are dodging. Ben finally looks at me. "If we fix it, you'll lift it." If you fix it in public, I say. We're not here to win, we're here to stop the bleeding. The deputy folds his clipboard. You've got what you need. Don't make this worse. He turns to go, then glances back at Grandpa. Sir, for what it's worth, quietest hammer I've seen. Grandpa nods once. Paper swings fine. Gloria fishes a backup card from a drawer and slaps it on the POS reader like a bet. We proceed, she announces, forcing volume into authority. She drags through a $10 test transaction. The reader thinks. And thinks. A single tone sounds in the bright room flat, decisive. Account access denied. Silence lands. You can hear the soda machine hum. Outside, wind flips the corner of a flyer for the Saturday BBQ. The ceiling fan hums above the seal of the county court. Paper rustles like wind through trees that learned silence. The bailiff calls case number 24, CV 1987, Silver Pines Homeowners Association fiduciary hearing. The gavel drops once. Thump. Grandpa sits 2 rows ahead of me, posture, straight as a post. Gloria stands at the defense table, mascara cracked at the edges. Ben, beside her, clutches a folder heavy with printed confessions, bank records, emails, receipts. Judge Keene adjusts his glasses. His robe fits like the years never left him. The room smells of air conditioning and copy toner. Microphones hum faintly, waiting for truth to vibrate them. Let's begin, Keene says. Mr. Lawson, as custodian, present your record. Grandpa rises. No theatrics, only documents. He hands the clerk a binder labeled Evidence Pines. Escrow, account 4412, he says. Established 2018. Dual authorization required. None observed for multiple disbursements. Irregularities marked red. The clerk swears him in. His voice is steady, funds diverted under single signature authority. Clauses unamended. No minutes filed. Keene flips the binder open. You're saying the HOA president operated outside the scope of the agreement? Yes, Your Honor, Grandpa says. And used that scope to fine residents under non-existent rules. Gloria leans into her mic. I only enforced order. Without order, a community collapses. Keene's eyes sharpen. Rules aren't rights, Ms. Pierce. You enforced preference. Ben slides forward a packet. Here, he says softly, the invoices, camera evaluations. President reserves. All unsigned. The clerk stacks them like dominoes. Reporters at the back-angle cameras, no flash, just the red blink of quiet record. Grandpa's tone softens. Our goal isn't punishment, it's daylight. Money belongs to people, not to fear. Gloria's jaw tightens. I never stole. No, Grandpa says. You just forgot who owned the lockbox. A low murmur stirs behind me. Neighbors, residents, the same crowd that watched the Mailbox find turn national on their phones. The hashtag Mailbox, Justice, scrolls across someone's tablet in the press row. Keene raises a hand. Court will recognize this as a community matter under fiduciary oversight. The record shows negligence, not malice, but negligence costs. He nods to the clerk. Read the proposed order. The clerk stands order of temporary suspension. President of Silver Pines HOA is hereby relieved of administrative authority pending audit. All funds to remain in custodial hold. HOA shall reimburse all residents fined under Bylaw 14B. The board will elect an interim chair within 30 days. The words float like oxygen. The gavel descends again. Thump! Applause breaks the courtroom's hush before Keene can say, order. He lets it roll a beat, then smiles just enough. Mr. Lawson, he says you didn't need a courtroom to be right, but sometimes right deserves a record. Grandpa nods. Thank you. Your Honor. Gloria's voice cracks. What happens to me? You rest, Keene says. Then you read your own bylaws. Ben lowers his head, whispering, I'll help audit. It's time. Reporters edge forward, microphones lifted. I see my phone light up hundreds of shares, comments full of gratitude and disbelief. Finally, someone fought back. The phrase that became our story's headline now echoes in real air. The clerk tears off a yellow label, stamps it with the county seal, and presses it on the binder marked Silver Pines HOA. The ink bleeds dark. Notice of suspension. The fans spin. Justice hums steady. The diner smelled of coffee and new beginnings. On the small radio by the window, a calm voice announced, "Silver Pines HOA elects new board. Refunds to residents start Monday." Maggie, the waitress, turned up the volume. "That your neighborhood." Mr. Lawson Grandpa smiled, stirring his coffee with the slow rhythm of someone who'd waited long enough for fairness. The spoon tapped against the cup like a metronome of peace. "You happy now?" I asked. He looked at the sunlight stretching across the chrome counter. "Happy?" He shook his head. "No. Peace tastes better than victory." I didn't answer. We just sat two men with matching mugs while the town outside moved on. Later that morning, a breeze danced through Silver Pines again. On the bulletin board outside the clubhouse, a crisp white sheet flapped Draft Silver Pines HOA Transparency Bylaws. Someone had tacked it beside a faded photo of last summer's barbecue. The corner lifted and fell with each gust like the paper was breathing. Inside, the new board meeting looked nothing like the old ones. The folding tables were the same, but the tone was lighter, almost cautious. Laptops glowed. Coffee cups steamed. A new banner hung on the wall. Community means everyone. Ben, now acting chair, cleared his throat. Item 1. Public access. All board meetings streamed online, minutes posted within 7 days. People nodded. A woman from Maple Lane said, "And no more fines for mailbox colors." Ben smiled. No fines without a vote. The room rippled with laughter and small applause. At the back, Gloria sat alone. Her clipboard was gone. Her eyes, for the first time, looked smaller than her voice used to be. When the vote passed, she stood. "Mr. Lawson," she said softly, "I owe you an apology. To all of you." Grandpa didn't move from his chair. "No," he said gently. "You owe them transparency. Start there." Gloria nodded. "Then I'll help Ben clean up the books." The sound that followed wasn't clapping, it was relief. Papers shuffled, chairs creaked, and someone near the front whispered, "It feels different in here." Outside the clubhouse, the sun burned off the morning chill. A new sheet of paper fluttered under the community seal. Refund notice? All fines under bylaw 14B. Voided. Janet, the neighbor with the live stream, read it for her camera. Silver Pines residents will receive refunds within 10 business days. She turned the camera toward the smiling crowd. We did it. Phones went up again, but this time no one was angry. Someone cheered, "To the mailbox," and laughter followed. Ben turned to Grandpa. "Henry, you should take the chair. You've earned it." Grandpa shook his head. "I didn't do this to sit higher. I just wanted respect restored." "Still," Ben said, "people trust you. Then keep it," Grandpa replied. "Trust isn't meant to be owned." That evening, we were back at the diner. Same booth, same cups. The radio hummed again, this time brighter. And in Silver Pines, the once divided community finds unity after a mailbox fine led to reform. Some are calling it the mailbox miracle. Maggie laughed as she refilled our mugs. They're quoting Mr. Lawson." Grandpa smiled faintly. "Depends on what they said." The announcer's voice rolled on. When asked what victory felt like, Henry Lawson replied. The recording played. Grandpa's voice from the hearing, steady, unwavering. Finally, someone fought back. The diner went quiet for a second, as if everyone wanted to savor it. Then a few clapped. Maggie wiped her hands on her apron. "Guess that's a pretty good line for the wall." Grandpa looked out the window. The mailbox, newly painted navy blue with its little flag shining red, stood at the curb like it always had, simple and dignified. He nodded toward it. It wasn't about color, he said. It was about being seen. Outside, wind lifted the corners of the new bylaws draft again, and the sunlight caught the metal flag just as it tilted upward. That night before closing, the radio replayed the same story one last time. The host signed off with a line that seemed written for every porch in America: "Justice doesn't always roar." Sometimes it just files the right form. Grandpa smiled at that. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. The flag on the mailbox lifted once more, catching the quiet wind not as a symbol of rebellion but of order finally set right. The printer in the clubhouse whirred softly, spitting out one clean label after another, adopted. Each sheet bore the same header, Silver Pines HOA Revised Bylaws 2024. A camera clicked nearby. On the new bulletin board, someone pinned a glossy photo labeled Trust Restored.jpg neighbors smiling under the Arizona sun. Grandpa stood beside it, sleeves rolled tie loose. The years on his face finally looked like rest, not wait. Outside, the smell of barbecue drifted over the cul-de-sac. Folding tables lined the lawn covered with paper plates, buns, and pitchers of lemonade. Kids chased a ball past the grill. The new board, Ben, Janet, and 2 new volunteers hung a banner across the clubhouse wall, Community Rebuilt. The air was different now, lighter. Gloria approached with a folder in her hands, no clipboard this time. The chatter faded just enough for her voice to find space. "I owe all of you something," she said. "An apology. For every time rules came before people." No one interrupted. Even the children paused. She turned to Grandpa. "You showed me what it means to lead with restraint." Grandpa smiled faintly. "Restraint's just respect in uniform." Ben raised his glass of lemonade. "To Henry Lawson, our unexpected teacher." The crowd echoed. To Henry, but Grandpa shook his head. "To trust," he said. "Because once it breaks, no fine can fix it." As dusk settled, Grandpa pulled from his coat a folded document, the last page of the freeze order, now stamped and signed by the court. He read aloud, "Trust reinstated, account released." He folded it again, tucking it into an envelope marked Lawson and Keene. Trust, PC. Then he set it gently beside the grill like a flag returned home. The sound of cameras came next to soft clicks, then one bright flash. Evan stepped forward, the weight of months finally lifting. Someone asked from behind the lens, "What would you call this victory?" He looked straight into the camera. Finally, someone fought back. He said, then smiled the right way. The crowd clapped, not loud, not forced. It was the kind of applause that carried thanks, not noise. Gloria placed her apology speech in the trash bin by the table. "No record needed," she murmured. Grandpa nodded. "The record's already printed." As evening slipped in, the smell of grilled corn mixed with laughter. The flag on the newly painted mailbox, blue, now trimmed with gold, fluttered lightly. Its little arm pointed skyward, green instead of red this time, a signal of calm instead of alarm. Evan leaned against the fence, watching his father watch the sunset. "You ever think it'd end like this?" Grandpa chuckled. And no. The law doesn't end anything. It reminds people how to begin again. The golden light stretched across the cul-de-sac, brushing the edges of every house, every face. In that light, the mailbox gleamed not as evidence, not as rebellion, but as a quiet monument to what was fixed without breaking anything. The radio in someone's truck played a faint clip of last week's news story one final time. In Silver Pines, peace returned not through anger, but through accountability. Grandpa raised his glass toward the sound eyes half closed. "That's how we keep it," he whispered. The flag waved once more, catching the last gold of the Arizona evening. Then stillness. Justice signed, sealed, and standing.